6 in 10 people who bought cryptocurrency have lost money. You were number 6. The influencer posted the video at 11:42 p.m. on a Tuesday. You watched it at 11:53. The coin had been climbing for 6 days. The chart in the thumbnail was green. The title had the words 100 times potential and a fire emoji. You clicked because everyone you followed was talking about it. The video was 8 minutes long. You watched all 8 minutes. The influencer explained the project with confidence that felt like research. They showed the website. They read from the white paper. They explained why this was different from every other project. The reasons made sense. The technology sounded legitimate. The team had credentials. The roadmap had dates. The tokenomics were displayed in a clean infographic. The partnerships were listed. The venture capital firms had recognizable names. You paused the video twice to screenshot the charts. You went back 15 seconds to hear the price prediction again. You opened a second tab to look at the project website. The design was professional. The language was technical but not incomprehensible. It felt like something built by people who knew what they were doing. The comments were unanimous. Already in. This is the one. Bought at 0.40, not selling until $10. Thank you for always sharing these early. You read 47 comments. 46 were bullish. One said, do your own research, and had 3 downvotes. You did not read that one carefully. The median loss from crypto scams was $2,600. You were about to contribute to that number. You believed in it. That part was real. You opened the exchange app at 12:17 a.m. You had been thinking about it for 24 minutes. The price was up another 11% since the video posted. The FOMO was not irrational. It was math. Every minute you waited was a minute of gains you were not capturing. The project was going to run. Everyone could see it. The only question was whether you were going to be early or late. You calculated how much you could afford to lose. The number you arrived at felt responsible. It was not your entire savings. It was not rent money. It was the emergency fund you had been building for 14 months. You had been adding $230 every paycheck. It was $3,200. The logic was, this was an emergency. The emergency was missing generational wealth. You bought at 2:38 a.m. The price was 71 cents per token. You acquired 4,507 tokens. The transaction fee was $18. You did not notice the fee. You were watching the balance update. You now owned something that was going up. The feeling in your chest was not greed. It was relief. You had made it in time. You took a screenshot of your holdings. The green number felt like proof you had made the right decision. You sent the screenshot to 2 friends. One sent back a fire emoji. One asked what it was. You sent them the influencer video link. You were not bragging. You were sharing. That is what it felt like. The influencer did not tell you they were paid. The disclosure was in the description. It said, paid partnership, in gray text below the fold. You did not expand the description. Nobody expands the description. That is why the disclosure is there. It satisfies the legal requirement without satisfying the ethical one. The influencer was paid $19,000 to make that video. They received the payment 4 days before posting. They bought the token 6 days before posting at $0.11. They owned 580,000 tokens. They sold 400,000 tokens between 68 cents and 74 cents while you were buying at 71 cents. They made $284,000. You made their exit liquidity possible. You did not know this. You thought you were early. You were late. You were the last person in. The price peaked at 79 cents 16 hours after you bought. You watched it happen. You opened the app 14 times that day. You were up $360. You did not sell. Selling at 11% profit felt like giving up. The influencer said this was going to $10. You were holding for $10. The $360 gain you could have taken felt meaningless compared to the $45,000 you were waiting for. You checked the subreddit. Everyone was holding. Someone posted, "Diamond hands only," and got 340 upvotes. Someone posted, "Took profits at 0.75 and got called paper hands." The social pressure was not subtle. Selling early was not financial strategy. It was betrayal. The price was 52 cents 3 days later. You told yourself it was a healthy correction. Every asset corrects. The influencer posted a new video. The title was, "Why I'm Still Bullish." You watched it. They explained that short-term volatility was noise. The fundamentals had not changed. The project was still solid. The dip was a buying opportunity. You did not buy more. You held. You stopped checking the app every hour. You checked it every morning instead. The number kept getting smaller. The green turned red. The red got darker. The price was 31 cents 2 weeks later. The subreddit was quieter. Half the posts were asking, "When moon?" with crying emojis. The other half were theories about market manipulation. The influencer had not mentioned the project in 11 days. You checked their Twitter. They were promoting a different coin. The comments under that video looked identical to the comments under the first one. "Already in. This is the one. Thanks for sharing early." You wanted to sell. You also wanted to not lose. These were different things, but you treated them like they were the same thing. Selling meant accepting the loss. Not selling meant the loss was still theoretical. You chose theoretical. The price was 19 cents 4 weeks later. You had stopped checking daily. You checked once a week now. The subreddit was nearly dead. The project Twitter had not posted in 9 days. The website was still up, but the roadmap dates had passed without updates. You sold at 14 cents 6 weeks after buying. Your $3,200 became $890. You lost $2,310 in realized terms. You also lost the 6 weeks that money could have been compounding anywhere else. You also lost the belief that you understood how investing worked. You also lost the peace you used to feel when you saw your emergency fund balance. That number used to mean safety. Now it meant evidence of a decision you made at 2:38 a.m. when you should have been asleep. The real cost was not the $2,310. The real cost was what that $3,200 would have become if you had put it somewhere boring. If you had opened a target date retirement fund the night you opened the exchange app and contributed nothing else for the next 20 years, historical returns suggest that account would hold $22,000 by the time you were ready to access it. You did not build that account. You built a lesson. The influencer is still posting. They have 740,000 followers now. They posted a video last week about another project with 100 times potential. The comments are unanimous. The chart is green. Someone is watching it right now at 11:53 p.m. on a Tuesday and feeling the exact thing you felt. Here is what you did not know and the influencer did. They knew the price when they bought. They knew the price when you bought. They knew the difference. They knew you were paying for their profit. They knew the post was an ad. They knew the timing was deliberate. They knew this was not financial advice, even though it was formatted exactly like financial advice. They knew you would not read the disclosure. They knew you would check the comments before you checked the tokenomics. They knew social proof would do the work logic was supposed to do. You know this now. The disciplined version of this financial life does not start with better research. It starts with removing the decision from the moment. You do not compete with FOMO by trying to resist FOMO. You compete with FOMO by building architecture before FOMO arrives. The disciplined investor does not watch the influencer video and then choose not to buy. The disciplined investor automated the index fund contribution years ago and never sees the video because they stopped opening social media when the market is open. The transfer runs on the 1st of every month. The amount is fixed. The asset is boring. The returns are historically predictable. There is no video to watch. There is no choice to make. There is no comment section to read. There is no 11:53 p.m. moment of conviction. The disciplined investor spent the same 14 months building the same emergency fund. They just put it somewhere that does not require belief. It requires nothing. It compounds whether they check it or not. It does not care if they are paper hands or diamond hands. It has no opinion about their conviction. It just runs. You are 33. You are sitting at your desk. The account balance is $890. You are deciding whether to leave it there or take the loss and move it somewhere that compounds predictably. That decision is happening right now. The version of you that makes that transfer today starts compounding from today. The version of you that leaves it in the defunct token starts compounding never. The difference between those two lives is not intelligence. It is not discipline. It is not willpower. It is whether you build the transfer before the next influencer posts the next video with the next 100 times claim. The green thumbnail will return. The title will have the fire emoji. The comments will be unanimous. The chart will look exactly like the last one. The FOMO will feel like math. The 11:53 p.m. version of you will want to buy. You will either have a system that runs without you, or you will have another decision to make at a time when your judgment is not your strongest asset. They told you the influencer was sharing an opportunity. They were not. They were creating exit liquidity. The opportunity was theirs. The exit was yours. The difference between those two sentences is the difference between believing the next video and building the automated transfer that makes the next video irrelevant. One of those paths costs you nothing. The other one costs you everything the boring account would have become.